Okay, I've had some questions on section 2.4. See if I could give a little bit of help here. So, got us a few examples we're going to work, see if it can get you on the right track. Even if you haven't completed these, I know they're past the due date now, but if you'll just send me an email after you get them finished and say, hey, I watched the videos and now I finished section 2.4, I will take the late penalties off of those for you. Okay, so let's look at this first example. So it says a survey of 800 students yielded the following information. 524 were seniors, 430 were commuters, and 300 of the seniors were also commuters. How many of the 800 surveyed students were seniors or were commuters? Okay, this one's a little deceptively tricky. Okay, it doesn't sound that difficult, but if you're not really careful, you get messed up. So, to me, the best way of going about this one is to make a Venn diagram. Okay, so we'll make a circle and we'll call these seniors. Okay, and then we'll make a circle for commuters, and then we can fill in our Venn diagram from there. Okay, so on Venn diagrams, you want to work your way from the inside out. So we want to start in the overlap in here. How many were seniors and commuters? So it told us that number was 300. So we have 300 that are seniors and commuters. So that's where the two circles overlap. Okay. So now if we work backward, it says 430 were commuters. Okay, so inside of our commuter circle in the blue one, we want 430 total, but we've already got 300 in there, so we got to subtract. So 430 minus 300 will leave us 130 that were only commuters. Okay, right? So that way when we add these together, 300 plus 130, we get the total of 430 that belong in that circle. Okay, now going over to the other side, we've got 524 were seniors. Okay, so inside the red circle total, we want 524. We've already got 300 in there, so we subtract, and that leaves us 224 out here. Okay, and then our question says how many of the 800 survey students were seniors or were commuters? So in either one of these, in this case, we've got three sections we want to add up. We want the ones that were just seniors, the ones that were both, and the ones that were just commuters. If we add that up, what do we get? We got 524 plus 130, 654. That should be it. So 654 out of 800 students in the survey were seniors or commuters. Okay, let's look at this next one. It can be a little bit trickier. This is really one of the ones that's kind of the most irritating in this section. Okay, we've got survey of 150 freshmen business students at a local university, and we want to know how many students took only music, and we really don't have to worry about what it's asking just yet because really we want to just go ahead and get our Venn diagram set up. Okay, so we've got three subjects listed here: history, science, and music. So we want to make a circle for each one of those. Call this one history, this one science, and then we'll call this one music. Okay. If you don't set your circles up exactly like mine, your Venn diagram will look a little bit different, but you should still get to the same answer. Okay, just maybe you put music over on the right instead of down at the bottom. It doesn't matter, but just don't let that confuse you if it doesn't look exactly like mine. Okay. So again, we want to start on the inside. So we want to start with the ones that are in the most circles. So we want to start with this information here that 7 took all three subjects. So 7 people go where all three circles overlap in there. Okay. And then we're just going to work our way backward. So it says 13 took history and music. Okay. So history and music are the two sections where the H and the M circles overlap. We've already got a 7 in there. So we want a total of 13 in there. So if we did 13 minus 7, that tells us the ones that just took history and music got to be 6. We subtract. Okay. Now, if we go back another piece of information, it says 14 took science and music. Okay, so science and music will be where the blue and the green overlap. So we want 14 in there. We've already got 7, so for this other piece of our overlap, we'll have 7. Okay. And actually on this one, we got kind of lucky because the question asks us, okay, if we go back and look at the question, it says how many students took only music. Okay, so only music is going to be this part out here, where they're not overlapping any other subjects, and we can figure that out now. You don't always get quite that lucky. Sometimes you have to fill out a little bit more of the Venn diagram. But let's look. It tells us that 42 took music. Okay, so we can do 42 minus how many we have in here so far? 13, 20. We got a total of 20 accounted for already in these 3 pieces that we've got filled out. So we do 42 minus 20 leaves us with 22 out here that took only music. And if we add all our numbers up in the music circle, we should get 42. So let's see. 22 plus 7 is 29. Plus 7 is 36. Plus 6 is 42. So yeah, our answer on this one's going to be 22. Okay. All right, one more here. One more that's tricky. We're not going to be tricky, so. And I don't like working this one myself, just to be honest with you. Okay, but we can do it. We can do it. All right. So we got a survey of recent high school graduates, and we're seeing what books they've read. So it tells us 925 read Gone with the Wind, 505 read Moby Dick, 615 read Lord of the Flies, 131 read all 3, 21 read none, 110 read only Lord of the Flies, 161 read Lord of the Flies and Moby Dick, and 191 read Moby Dick and Gone with the Wind, but not Lord of the Flies. What percent of the recent graduates read exactly one book? Round our answer to the nearest tenth. Okay, we got to round there because it's asking us for our answer as a percentage here, not just a number. So we're going to set it up basically the same way we started on the other one. We're going to do 3 circles. So I'll call this one Gone with the Wind. Okay. We'll call this one Moby Dick. And then we'll call this one Lord of the Flies. Okay. So we want to start with the innermost part. So we look back at that. It says 131 read all 3. So inside, we've got 131 where all 3 of our circles overlap. Okay, you got some choices on where to go from here. I think kind of if we just go to the end, we look at this last piece that says 191 read Moby Dick and Gone with the Wind, but not Lord of the Flies. Hey, that one's a little bit different than what you've had on most of these problems, so that can be a little bit tricky. So we want 191 where Moby Dick and Gone with the Wind overlap, but we don't want that section to overlap with Lord of the Flies, so that's this section out here. Okay? So that's where Gone with the Wind and Moby Dick overlap, but not Lord of the Flies, not the green one. So that number there, 191, goes in this section. Okay? We back up another piece of information. It says 161 read Lord of the Flies and Moby Dick. Okay, so we want the overlap between the blue and the green circle to be 161. But we've already got 131 in the very middle. So if we subtract, that leaves us 30 out here. 131 plus 30 equals 161. Okay. We go back another piece of information. You haven't dealt with this type of information that much either. It says 110 read only Lord of the Flies. So where does that go? That goes out in the part of the Lord of the Flies that doesn't overlap with anything else. There's 110 out here. Okay. It says 21 read none of the books, so 21 is just kind of on the outside. That's really not going to have too much effect on us. Okay. And then we can start trying to fill in these last 3 pieces. So yeah, let's back up to here. 615 read Lord of the Flies. Okay, so that means we want total of 615 in the green circle. But we've already got 3 of those pieces filled in. So we'll do, I got my calculator right here. And we'll do 615 minus 110, that's in the green, minus 30, that's in the green, minus 131, that's right in the middle. Okay. And that leaves us 344. Okay. 344. So the only place we have left for this 344 to go in the Lord of the Flies is right here. Oh, let me change the color back. Okay. So we should have everything for Lord of the Flies. So we can check that if we want to make sure we haven't messed up. I'm going to do 344 plus 131 plus 30 plus 110. That does give us a total of 615, so our green circle's good now. Okay, green circle's good. Okay, if we back up, it says 505, read Moby Dick. So we want the blue circle to total up to 505, so we've already got 3 pieces in there, so we can do 505 minus 191 minus 131 minus 30. That leaves us with 153. So out here in the Moby Dick circle by itself, we've got 153. And again, if we add all those up, we should get the right thing. Let's check it real quick. 153 plus 30 plus 131 plus 191. We do get 505, so now our Moby Dick circle's good. And we got one more to do. Got 925 red Gone with the Wind. So we need our red circle to total up to 925. So we'll start with 925 and then subtract the pieces we already have in the red circle. So minus 344 minus 131 minus 191 equals 259 out here. Okay. So we've got the Venn diagram filled all the way out. If we look back at the question, it says what percent of the recent graduates read exactly one book? So we only want the ones that read one book and one book only. Okay. So we want this one, 153, that read only Moby Dick. This one, the 259, that read only Gone with the Wind. And this one, the 110, that read Lord of the Flies. Okay, so if we add those together, 259 plus 153 plus 110, we get a total of 522 that read only one book. But we got to divide that by the total. Okay, so now we get to add a bunch of numbers together because we got to figure out our total here. So we got to add all the pieces together, everything in the circles and these 21 out here on the outside. We got to add all those together. So I'm just going to start with the 21 on the outside so I don't forget. And then I'm going to add all the other numbers in the circle. So 259 plus 191 plus 153 plus 344 plus 131 plus 30 plus 110. So our total should be 1,239. Okay, so if we do 522 divided by 1239, okay, then that gets me 0.421 something. And then if we're gonna round our answer, it says round it to the nearest tenth. First, we got to change it to a percentage, right? So that's going to be 42.1%. And that is to the nearest tenth. So 42.1% of the people in this survey read only one book. I know that one's annoying because it's so long, but you only have one or two of those in there.